Hello, I'm Marcus V. Calvert, and welcome to Tales Unlimited Kitchen Rants. This is January the 8th, and I've just finished a story called Crone. What is a crone? Old lady, basically. And mystical context, think an old lady who knows things, secrets, magic perhaps, or a fortune teller. Well, it's not a magical story, it's a psychic tale. In this world, psychics have a weird vulnerability. They have to feed on a mind in order to use their powers at all. So a lot of psychics don't even know they're psychic. They're born, they live, they die. If a certain trauma happens in a certain way and they feed on somebody and their powers kick off, they realize they're psychics, and then they have a problem. In like ancient times and all that stuff, before more enlightened times like now, psychics were hunted down and put to death, or they were weaponized. Oh, you have a psychic, a pyrokinetic, a telepath, telekinetics. Okay, sure, fine. Join my army, or I'll have you killed. And again, they have to feed. But the problem is, if you're like a telepath trying to use your powers, you have to feed on someone's mind in order to get into someone else's mind, perhaps. And feeding too much does brain damage, of course. I haven't seen that before, heard of that before, so I'm like, do it. And so, modern day, yes, they're still psychics, and yes, they have civil rights and all that, but they don't rule the world. Or do they? Anyhow, Crone is not just your garden variety psychic with an interesting mesmerism ability that everyone knows about. It's the fact that she's old. When she feeds, she just stopped aging. I mean, to be around since the 900s, where that's the oldest account of her anyway. She was, burned to the stake. Burned at the stake, I should say, as a witch. Chained, crowd forms, they set her on fire. What did she do? She fed on the crowd. Broke free, her injuries healed as she fed. Handful survived, hence the account, and basically, thus began the legend of the Crone. What does she do? Does she take over the world? No, she just builds the world's largest and oldest criminal syndicate, with like branches from Arkansas to Istanbul. She wanted not so much the power, just the reach to further whatever ambitions and ends. Don't get me wrong, she's rich, like enough to buy a relatively small or mid-sized country. Sure, fine. Different crimes and vices and legitimate dealings, fronts, all that funnel in and bankroller. People, they look into those eyes and they ride or die for life. And then, okay, fine, they come, they go. But even psychics, a handful can resist, not many. And that presents a problem down the road because someone murders Crone. And the story is told from the perspective of a loyal minion, a worker bee, who looked her in the eye, became her slave, doesn't care, knows that he's a slave, doesn't care. And this murder is done by poison. And Crone's slowly losing her mind. She basically begs him to put her down, and he does. Films it. Everyone in her organization sees this recording, sees her death, and then it's like just mass suicides. They all just die right and left. And since he did it, he gets arrested, and the evidence is presented at the trial, which means, since this was only shown in-house, she was murdered by one of her own. At least one mole, at least one traitor. Who did it? So it's kind of shades of the 47 Ronin, only those 47 Ronin in that classic Japanese tale, they knew who their enemy was. These guys don't. So this main minion is the key. How do you drag your enemies into the light and get vengeance? Well, I won't give that part away. But that's basically what Crone is. It needs some work, but I think it's going to make the cut. And let's see. Off to the next thing, I guess. Still working on cookbook and another project that I won't give details too much on yet. Let's just say it's a work in progress. and even tweaked a little bit with battery 7, but that's at the end of the line. And that's the end of it. All right, I'm Marcus V. Calvert. This is Tales Unlimited Kitchen Rants. Please like and subscribe. Stay warm.